Hello again, friends of YaLa, and thank you. Thank you for working for a future of peace, even in such difficult times. It would be so easy today to give in to cynicism and despair. But when resignation prevails, change becomes simply impossible. If we lose hope, we lose our best strength. In the last months, I visited the Syrian refugee camps in Lebanon and Jordan, and I have seen so many young people and even children who have lost their homes, their jobs, their friends, but they haven't lost hope and even a smile. If they can do it, if they can still hope in a peaceful future, we have a duty to do just the same. Today you set an ambitious goal for your hope: peace in the Middle East in 2020. You know, when I took office, I said we can aim for a two-state solution between Israel and Palestine by the end of my mandate, and that is by the end of 2019. I know, just like you, that we are setting the bar very, very high. But I am sure about something. We will definitely not make it if we don't try, and if we set targets, it's because we want to proceed towards that targets. Therefore, the peace progress is always at the top of the European Union agenda. We are constantly working with Israeli and Palestinian leaders to find a way forward. But peace in the Holy Land concerns the whole region and the world. And this is the reason why we decided that the Middle East Quartet should work more closely with the key Arab countries and with the Arab League. In a way, it is the same idea which led you to YaLa Young Leaders. All who have an interest in peace should engage for peace together. In our quartet meeting last February, we have decided to come up with a report on how to move beyond deadlock, with also recommendations towards the two states. We are currently working on that. The present situation is unsustainable, and sit or wait is not an option for us. We cannot let desperation prevail among young Israelis and Palestinians, because despair can only lead to more violence. In times like this, keeping hope alive can be the best contribution to peace. Keep the horizon in order to continue walking towards it. So thank you, my friends. Our hope can be rock solid with 1 million young people working for peace as you are.
We need peace. There are differences, no doubt, but we need the peace. The Israeli need the peace, and really strategically they need peace, but they don't want the peace to be dictated on the other side. And we need peace. We cannot leave our people all time under all these kind of pressure and difficulties and less of security and etc. We want the people to live in peace. I hope that the Israeli people and the public opinion in Israel will be able really to raise their sound to say that we want peace, and the conditions for peace is a Palestinian state with under the 1967 borders, Jerusalem capital, East Jerusalem capital of the state of Palestine, and the right of the refugees according to 194, according to the Arab Peace Initiative. This is a very fair request, and it's been approved and supported by the international community. If we want peace in this region, which is really, the situation is fragile, it's difficult, I think peace will, in the region, the whole region will start with the Palestinian-Israeli peace, fair peace, not dictated peace. Nobody can accept peace to be dictated, and that will not achieve the right of the Palestinian people for their independent states. I'm afraid that as long as this conflict will continue without a real solution, I'm afraid that it will complicate the situation in the whole region, and nobody can guarantee the future. Today it's possible, tomorrow I'm afraid that it will not be possible.
Hello, my name is Kobi Huberman from the Israeli Peace Initiative Group. I'm very pleased to welcome and greet all of you at YaLa Networks at this wonderful event, and I want to thank the organizers for inviting me to give you a few words about how we see the vision of the Middle East in the following years, with the hope that we can change dramatically the future and the current circumstances in the Middle East. Our vision for the Middle East is based on the understanding that only peace, security, prosperity, and interfaith tolerance are the viable option for the next generations in the Middle East. And therefore, we see a few important building blocks in building this future vision and implementing it. The first, we want to take advantage of the historic move offered by the Arab nations back in 2002 and leverage the Arab Peace Initiative. We believe that this is a fundamental shift that demarcates a possible roadmap to reach the end of the conflict and build a shared future for all the nations and all the peoples in the Middle East. We believe that the two states for two peoples solution is the only viable option in order to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and that in the context of a much wider regional agreement is the only viable option to create a political solution. We believe that in addition to the two-state solution, we need to see a regional security agreement in order to confront the threats of terrorism to the future of the Middle East. And we believe that there is another huge challenge ahead of all of us, and that is building a regional economic development plan and creating a shared market for all of us. If you look at 25 years from now, and if we try to imagine what peace could look like and how the implementation of the Arab Peace Initiative could fit within that vision, you would definitely see a few tremendous transformations. Not only we believe that we will see the state of Palestine living side by side next to Israel on what we believe would be the 67 borders plus minus land swap as offered by the Arab League, but we also believe that we will see a major transformation in the mindset and in the economic conditions. And let me share with you a few things about how we see the future of the young generation and your children in the next 2 generations to come. We believe that you would live in a much wider economic zone, namely the greater Middle East. Maybe not all the countries, but the majority of the states in the region would join forces in order to build new trade opportunities, a huge platform for tourism, which will attract people from all over the world. We believe that together we will be able to tackle the problem of water, of energy, of food security, of better health care. We believe that we will together solve and address environmental issues, and we believe that we will bring a spirit of innovation, high-tech, and entrepreneurship. So the future really belongs to you, the young generations and the leaders of the future. It is up to you to show leadership, entrepreneurship, and take action. And we believe that the roadmaps that our generation will build together with you will be implemented when you are taking the helm and when you show your generation the possibility of hope. But it all goes back to courage and courageous leadership that must show the way today. And we trust that with your help, this future vision will become a reality. Thank you.
This has been described as a rare moment of hope. You've come together online to ask what the next few years might look for your region and for Middle East peace, particularly by 2020, and what that might mean for your own futures. Great leaders know that history judges them on how they handle change, so they should already have a very clear vision of how their region and the world might look in 2020, and they should already be working towards that. But time isn't always on the side of today's leaders. If they move towards peace, they'll need support from people like you. So you, the future leaders of your region, must also have a vision of peace, how it will look, and you need to know what you might have to do to support today's leaders in creating that peace. This is your opportunity to take a long, hard look at the reality to which your region has been subjected over many years, to decide what's needed to make for a better future and to give hope for a better future. Ask yourself if you really want a future where conflict remains the constant default option. Do you want your children to live in a perpetual cycle of hostility, suffering the poverty of body and spirit that goes with that? Or do you want them to grow up believing only in force? Or might they renounce the use of force and know Mahatma Gandhi's truth that non-violence is a weapon of the strong? Do you want to continue living in a time and a place where you can only believe the very worst of your neighbours, or do you want to live side by side with neighbours, not enemies? Those are just some of your options, and you'll only deliver the peace option if all sides work and negotiate towards that peace. So I want you to shut your eyes for a moment and imagine that you've actually achieved peace by 2020. Imagine how it will look in 2020. Imagine a region where borders are for visiting, not for guarding. Borders that no one has to fight to protect. Imagine a region whose leaders and diplomats move freely between each other's capitals. Imagine a region where people work, produce and trade to their mutual economic benefit, where enterprise and creativity really thrive. Imagine a region with buzzing classrooms, shared environmental objectives, and functioning infrastructure and health services. Imagine a region where religious differences are not reason for conflict, and where sport is regularly played between countries proud of their sports people. And ask yourself, is all of that possible by 2020? It's a big ask. Some will say too big by far. But by shutting your eyes and imagining it, you've actually seen it. And you'll know it's not a dream. It is achievable, and yes, it's achievable by 2020. And finally, please understand that globally, your region enjoys enormous goodwill, more so perhaps than any other. For some, it goes back to the very beginning of time. For others, it's simply a wish to see you living in safety and in economic security. They want to walk alongside your region as it moves to peace, and to provide the guarantees and the support that's needed. So please understand that others really do wish you well, that the world will back you, really will back you, if you move to peace. Their only expectation is that all sides, and I really do mean all sides, renounce the use of force and commit to negotiating peace in good faith and without preconditions. That's what 2020 could look like. It's your future. It's yours to make, it's yours to shape, and above all, it's yours to take.